Welcome to the last episode of What's New in Vancouver. I am Sudhir Datta, and I have been the executive producer for the What's New in Vancouver program and for IT Productions for the past 25 years or so. Over the last 3 weeks, Shishmaji has gone through and talked about all the productions that we've done and all the different things that we've done for the community, all the different interviews that we've had, and much more over the last 41 years of programming for the multicultural channel. We thought we'd take some time and talk to her about how everything started, what the behind-the-scenes issues that went on while being a part of the multicultural channel. So let's get into it. So,
last program.
This is the last show.
So
a journey that started in 1978? 1979?
So 1979 October, when Vancouver Cablevision wanted to purchase Western Cablevision, and the commission wanted to find out what would the community get in return. And Vancouver Cablevision said a children's channel with multicultural channel. So both of them together. So that was approved by the commission, and the first 6 languages were introduced in 1979.
Mm-hmm. And you were one of the founding producers.
I was one of the founding producers. It was the brainchild of Bernard Liu, who was working on the on Channel 4 at that time, the community channel. So were we on community channel. And he got the Chinese, the Greek, the German, the Japanese, the South Asian, Scandinavian communities together, and Italian. And the very first evening program started for the multicultural channel.
So from that point, and it was only about a year before Rogers took over, a year or two before Rogers tried to take over.
That's right.
And ended up taking over the Vancouver Cablevision.
That's right.
And took over and created the Rogers Multicultural Channel.
That's right. It was their condition of license, by the way, that they had to continue carrying multicultural channel. Children's channel moved away by about 1981, and the multicultural channel had Monday to Saturday by that time programming.
So Rogers at that time, they touted the fact that they had the multicultural channel. It was like, look at what we're doing. We're helping the community and so on, and would do a lot of promotion around that fact to the public at large. But behind the scenes, it was a very different story.
Yes.
There were a number of times where Rogers actually went to the commission to actually ask that the condition of license to keep the multicultural channel be removed. And so basically they were trying to get rid of the multicultural channel on many different occasions.
Oh yes. The very first time I remember when the first pay television channel, ethnic pay television channel, Worldview, came into being. They said there is a multicultural channel, so we don't have to have our condition of license. The commission did not agree. The second time that I remember was in 1986, and then one more time after that. When we got this channel, we did not know that we could not do advertising on it. The commission gave it as a sponsored channel. So people don't understand what a sponsorship is and what a commercial is. A commercial is where you can quantify and say you can buy this product and it's fantastic, it's cheap, for $1 you can get this. A sponsorship is just the name of the company, and that's all we were allowed to do. And there was no money from the cable company to us. There was no money available from the government to do multicultural programming. So the producers, the 7 producers that started the program, did it on their own.
Thankfully, at that time, the community was quite large enough, and they supported the community, the channel, quite a bit.
Yes.
In the 80s and into a lot of the 90s as well.
Right.
So there was lots of sponsorship that was given. It was difficult. It wasn't easy, obviously.
No, we couldn't charge enough money because we had to buy our own equipment.
Yeah.
And Sudhir, the tapes that we bought were like $30 each.
Yeah.
And could record only about 20 minutes. And then every time, you couldn't keep those tapes like we can keep our SD cards now.
Yeah.
you had to buy tapes all the time. So what we ended up doing was re-recording on the same tape.
Going back to Rogers and their condition of license, you said that they went in front of the commission 3 times to ask for the removal of the multicultural channel. You were actually one of the ones who actually went in front of the commission and tried to fight for the
Multicultural
producers.
channel.
You were the face of the producers for a number of years. You,
That's right.
along with
Vito, Bruno, and Wen Li,
Li.
the Italian and the Chinese producer, and ourselves.
So when the CRTC said that this had to stay as a condition of license, did they give any directives as to how the station should be run? You have to do this, you have to do that.
The commission was only interested in making sure that the multilingual communities were served. The running of the station was up to Rogers. It was very difficult to deal with the staff of Rogers at that time. They were non-ethnic people, quote unquote, white people looking after ethnic channel, and had their own ideas as to how to rule that channel, quote unquote. I do remember some of our meetings in which the 3 members of that multicultural channel,
The heads of
the channel, sitting, one guy sitting with a fake sword in his hand and a baton. And that was the time when all the multicultural producers were being divvied up the time that they wanted to produce programming
The
for the channel.
schedule was being devised for the next season.
That's right. So it would be like, it was just horrendous trying to keep your own time, because in television or in any media at that time, you needed to have consistency, to have your programming come at the same time so that people get used to it.
Right.
Once people get used to it and you change your time, nobody's going to be watching you.
Yeah.
And then you lose your viewers. So it was very important for us to keep our viewers. And there used to be a lot of turmoil in those days to try and keep our time. We would make friends with other producers, but other producers wanted your time as well. Don't forget that originally there were only 6 producers. And then it opened up to, after 10 years almost, it opened up to rest of the producers. And once it opened up to rest of the producers, Rogers was owning it. Rogers made it sure that it wasn't a very easy channel for the multicultural producers to produce for them. And they wanted everybody to sort of leave the channel and go so that they could go to the commission and say, we
No
didn't
one's
want
here.
the channel. Yeah.
Rogers, going through all of this, realizing that the multicultural channel is here to stay, was never going to leave. So as programming changed, and as we had different time slots and less and less programming, because more and more producers were coming in to look after the South Asian community, how were you able to make the business run?
It was very difficult to get sponsorship for a program, whereas they were Omni running Indian programming with commercials, full-fledged commercials. We could not do that. There was Now TV running full-fledged commercials. We could not do that. There was Vision running ethnic programming. We couldn't do that. And then Rogers brought in, or the cable company, I should say, brought in the programming from back home for all the communities. Italian, South Asian, Chinese. So once that happened on a 24-hour channel where you can sit and watch your language 24 hours of the day, why would you sit down and watch a Monday evening at the movies or a Thursday entertainment? It was very evident to us by about 2002, 2003 that we couldn't sustain the 2 programmings or 3 or 4. There was a time we were doing 13 hours of local programming for the community, that we couldn't even sustain half an hour. And that's where What's New in Vancouver, today's form, started doing a half-an-hour program.
Taking all of that into account, though, it's a very different world then versus now. We were at 200,000 150,000 community, like, was how big the community was. Now we're pushing past 350,000. Events aren't the same as they once were. There's so many events, and there's so many events now that happen at the same time.
That's right.
And they don't really intermix with one another, and
No.
people aren't really that connected as they once were. Whereas when we were doing all these topics and local things, we were very small. We were a much smaller community, and it impacted us a lot more, I feel. I feel now a lot of people feel that those issues don't impact them. Their quote-unquote community issues don't impact them because they're not part of that community, or they're part of their own version of the community.
Yes, that makes sense to me. And you're right. At that time, the community needed a channel like the multicultural channel, and we filled that void.
There's still lots of things that affect the community that we talked about over the years that
Yes.
still affect the community. Drinking and driving is still one of them. We did a program on, we did videos on drinking and driving.
Mr. Baines,
Yeah, Mr. Baines, yeah.
Sam Baines,
Sam Baines.
and you live on number 6 Road, do you?
Number 6 Road, yeah, I've been living there for now 2 years, I think. Yeah, 2 years, 2 years. 3.
Have you been drinking today, sir?
No, not really. Just a couple of beers we had, yeah.
Just a couple?
Yeah, just a couple of beers, that's all, yeah.
Okay, can you step out of your car, sir?
Right now?
Yes.
ਹਰ ਸਾਲ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੋਏ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਾਨਾਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਡਾਲਰ ਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੈ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਉਣਾ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਗੀਨ ਜੁਰਮ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਜੁਰਮ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜੰਗ ਤੇਜ਼ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਜੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਪਾਸ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਹਥਿਆਰ ਹੈ
Okay, how much have you had to drink again today?
Just a couple of beers. We just went to party. Just a couple of beers, that's all, yeah.
No whiskey or rye?
No.
Just a couple of beer?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, I have reason to believe that your ability to operate a motor vehicle is impaired by alcohol. Do you understand that?
Are you sure? Yeah, okay. I should be okay, actually, yeah, okay.
Okay, well, I don't think so, and I would like you to provide a sample of your breath, okay?
Now?
Yes, now.
Okay.
Okay, would like you to blow into this end of the tube.
Okay.
Put your lips right around that tube and keep blowing hard until I tell you to stop. Do you understand?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. No. Put your lips right around the tube, okay, and blow like blowing a balloon. Now, don't have to hold it. Just put it in your mouth. Keep blowing hard, sir. Long, hard breath. Good, thank you.
Okay. Should be okay, I think.
Now we just wait and see whether you pass or fail.
I think I should be okay, yeah.
I'm afraid you failed, Mr. Baines.
I should be okay, I think. I just had a couple of beers,
Okay,
that's
listen
all.
to me. You are under arrest.
We did videos on distracted driving.
That's right.
That's still a big thing.
Do you know how fast you were going?
To tell you the truth, I have no idea how fast I was going. I don't know.
Do you know what the speed limit is on this street?
I would assume it's around 30 kilometers.
Well, just looking at the skid marks of your car, I can tell you were going a lot faster than 30, okay?
Yeah, I didn't even look. I didn't even see the car in front of me stop. I just swerved, so I didn't even look.
Well, you're very lucky, you know, that the lady wasn't killed. If she had been killed, you'd be going to jail for a long, long time. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
I'm It's amazing how different distracted driving was versus in the video versus what it is now. But it was there, and we
Yes.
did programs on that. Violence in the home
Yes.
is still a big issue. There's still so many news reports of women going missing and so on and so forth. And we did tons of programming on that. And it still affects the community to this day. Do you think the fact that those conversations aren't being discussed on television as much, has it made those problems worse?
You know, you've brought a beautiful point. The community has to be listening to it. At that time, there was no other distraction for the community. There was just this program. We could, I'm going to use the word hijack the community, get them to sit down and watch. They had to watch it. So there isn't a single point where the entire community is sitting and watching it. So I was very cognizant of the fact that the movies that we would bring in Monday evening at the movies were family-oriented films, that the whole family could sit down and watch it. The Thursday programming was always for the community, by the community. So we made sure that we had a good drama to entice the community to sit down and watch it. My whole idea was that we were in a different country. We wanted the community to be together. Everybody sitting together, having dinner together, and watching programs together. We would have a drama to start with. So people would get together, sit down, and then we'd go to What's New in Vancouver, and we would do all the interviews and what's happening in the community. And then we'd do either Yaadein or Top 10. And then we got Ramayan and we got Mahabharat. These were dramas that were amazing. And then the Pakistani dramas is what made our programming the most watched programs. When there was sex selection that was happening within our community, we went all the way up to Blaine to film all that. There was a demonstration, we went through Main Street and all the way up to, you know, a park where everybody spoke. We covered all that. And we brought that to the attention of the community. There were some people who didn't want to know anything about it. But larger community was watching it and listening to it.
The whole community has come together for this issue against sex selection. People will be chanting slogans, join in. They're catchy, they're easy, they're fun.
Sex selection has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Sex selection has got to go. Sex selection has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Sex selection has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
And you know what? This multicultural channel has given the younger generation an opportunity to get into television. They've, in our own community, young women have watched me do programming, and there are a lot of brown faces you see on television now. You know, Global has amazing, you know, anchors. CBC has always had, Bell has always been there, and you know, CTV has brown faces now on television. And I feel very happy that in one way we have been able to at least make that a reality. The other thing that I really like, Sudhir, that we've had some really fantastic people work with us. You were only 5 years old when I started working in this channel. You've been with this channel since then. I think you were 13 when you started doing camera for the very first time.
I was 12 when I was a camera assistant. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was 13, I was a full-fledged camera
That's
studio
right.
operator.
That's
studio
right.
camera operator.
And with your help, with people like Scott McDonald, or Denny Dossman, or Chris Lindgren, we've had some fantastic people behind the scenes. We've had people like Naveen, who worked, you know, very hard with our channel and made it very successful. And there were numerous young people who were associated with What's New in Vancouver. And it was under your leadership that What's New in Vancouver had all the young faces come up and do programming.
Over the last 20 years, yeah, we've had a lot of really amazing people who've worked on Western Vancouver. But even before that, we had many people who worked with IT Productions as a whole, and who went on to do other things, and who some of it in media, and some of it continued on into media.
That's right.
There are many people who worked with us who went on to work at CTV and Global and many other different locations. I think we helped a lot of people understand their craft. I think we helped a lot of people understand the importance of television and how to navigate the world of media,
Yes.
not only in front of the camera but behind the camera as well. So I'm definitely thankful for that, and the impact that we've had on the community as a whole, not just the South Asian community, but even the larger community. So to come around, to encapsulate everything, you started in 1979, in October of 1979. It is now 2020, August. Each and every week, you did a show. There was a show on the multicultural channel every single week. There wasn't a week where you didn't do a show. There wasn't a week where a show didn't air,
That's
essentially.
right.
Right? So you've been a fixture, a part of this channel for so many years. It must have been hard taking vacations, that's for sure.
It was, but you were there.
Yeah.
We both together could never take vacations
No.
because one of us had to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sweet and a little sad to let go of the channel and say goodbye to it. But even today, doing it with you, and it gives me great pleasure that you and I are both doing this together, that I have never been able to thank you for all the creative input that you've had towards the channel and towards the programming that we've done. You have been the backbone of the editing. I mean, visually, our programs look beautiful, and that goes. The salute should go to you for looking after it.
Well, I don't know. I think you made it very clear as to what we wanted the show to look like and what we wanted it to be.
I mean to say, not an amateur show.
Yeah, not amateur, not small.
Yes.
Our view was always to make it as big as important as it could be. I didn't want, and I guess it goes back to what we were doing earlier when we were talking about all the kids who would watch the show and could see themselves being in TV as well. I didn't want them to feel that they were watching a show that wasn't well produced or wasn't well made and couldn't be well made by non-white people.
Right.
You know, and I think that was always our thing. And I think our thing was always to make sure that we had the best content and we always had something to say. But over the course of those 41 years, you've talked about many moments in the last 3 weeks that were your favorites. Are there any moments that you've left out or that you feel?
Oh, numerous, but we can't put them in this particular program. There have been great people that have come into our studios and recorded. I've had the opportunity of balancing music with qawwals and singers, and if I started thinking about what I have left, I will be very sad. But I think whatever we did, it was from the heart. So thank you for letting me come to your house every week to talk to you. It has been fun, and I miss those people who have gone, who are not here anymore. May they be our viewers or people that we worked with. But this has been a great run, and thank you to you too, Sudhir.